Welcome to Fuchs Games. My name is Fuchs and today we're gonna talk about build Tectonic Slam of Cataclysm in Settlers of Kalgur League of Path of Exile. We're gonna show gems, equipment, skill tree, special jewels, cluster and unique, and total price and some possibilities of upgrades. After we show that, we'll show some gameplay footage. Our gameplay is not edited and shows the playstyle on heavily modded maps and with deaths. Make sure you note this is not an expensive build for this league and it can have trouble with some content, as you will see. Without complicating further, let's get into it. First we will get into details about character. We are going to pick Marauder class with ascendancy Chieftain. Chieftain has a very good passive tree that lets us maximize our elemental resistances and great passives for boosting our main attack, Tectonic Slam of Cataclysm. Thassalia Cleansing Water and Valako Storm's Embrace are used for maximizing our resistances. Thassalia also converts half of the fire resistance to cold and lightning resistance, and we can actually build the whole character only around fire resistance. Next thing is Sione Sun's Roar, which makes our Warcries have infinite power, meaning when we use them we won't have to be aware of how many enemies is there around us. Also the 30% buff is nice. And the final thing is Tukohama War's Herald, which basically gives us a free level 20 Fist of War on our body armor. Now Fist of War is great because it gives us every 1.8 seconds a boost that makes our attack insanely stronger. Our attack gets 98% more damage and 59% more area of attack. Based on this knowledge we need to focus on a few things: getting a good 6-linked setup on a body armor, picking relevant Warcries, working our tree around Warcries and damage, and focusing on maximizing our fire resistance. We are going to check this build's items now. On items we can get the +1 or more maximum fire resistance on boots and body armor as XR mods. It's possible to attain +3 maximum fire resistance on body armor and +2 on boots, giving us a maximum of +5 on items. We want to keep lesser modifiers because higher tier are usable only near unique monsters or pinnacle bosses. This way you are kept on maximum resists all the time. In my build I have +1 on boots and +1 on body armor, meaning I have more maximum fire resistances somewhere else, which we will see later. For offensive items, we went two-handed axe, even though in this league swords were way more powerful, but this did the trick just fine as axes were way cheaper than swords. We wanted a huge pure physical axe since we are doing a full conversion to fire damage. Now this axe is, DPS wise in upper mid range, it's got just enough DPS for everything, around 800 physical DPS. The most important is the rune crafting option to get the 9% fire damage for each 1% fire resistance above 75%. If we are kept with fire resistance, we get 135 increased fire damage. Maximum is 150%. Mods on this axe could have been different, higher tier or more damage, but this axe was picked specifically for the dexterity due to some other skills using dexterity. Helmet. We are getting helmet with as much armor as we can. Mods we are looking for is more life, chaos resistance, and rolling the Exarch and Ether mods until we get physical damage taken as elemental damage. Since we're immune to any kind of elemental ailments, it doesn't really matter which one, as long as we're reducing that physical damage. The 20% reduced mana cost is here because our skills cost pretty high, so this reduces it very nicely. For amulet we are picking Xob's Blood. This is an amulet that gives us 10% increased maximum life, gives us some fire resistance, gives us fire damage penetration, it gives us Avatar of Fire, which is basically converting 50% physical cold and lightning damage to fire, and we deal no non-fire damage. And the most important part is giving us cover enemies in ash when they hit you. Being covered in ash applies 20% less movement speed and 20% increased fire damage taken for 4 seconds. I recommend anointing Charisma on this amulet because it increases our mana reservation efficiency of skills by 16% and it gives us a 6% increased effect of non-curse auras. This is great because when we use all of our auras, we will be left with just a little bit mana, enough for spamming our skills. For our rings, we have picked 2 unset rings because they are perfect for socketing our skitterbots and flame golem. You should try getting Elderslayers mods for less cost of skills, which is non-channeling skills have minus the total mana cost, life, and have at least 1 ring that uses curse enemies with flammability on hit. Both rings should have anoints for blight. One should have empowering towers have 25% increased effect, and one should have meteor towers create burning ground for 3 seconds on hit. This, if you want to know more about, you can check out in our other video about blight and blight towers. The remaining mods of these rings should be something like fire resistance, chaos resistance, additional damage, additional attributes, and other. Basically, very simple. Our body armor should be an armor with as much as possible armor. We see here around 3000 armor. All the other mods should be something of a life, chaos resistance, fire resistance, and absolutely you need to get additional physical damage reduction. The other important part is getting the Exarch and Ether mods, which one of them is taking physical damage from hits as elemental damage. This is very important. For our gloves, we can get as much as possible armor and aim for high life, chaos resistance and possibility to craft damage while leeching. We will leech usually mana because mana is something we won't be regenerating fast. Most important on gloves is to hit the inflict fire exposure mod of Searing Exarch, which applies some debuff to fire resistance, though we will amp it up later in the skill tree as you will see. For the final 2 items, belt and boots, there is one special thing you need to aim for. Belt must be a Stygian Vise, so we can socket an abyssal gem with the chance to avoid being shocked mod. And also, we need to have boots that have the same avoid being shocked mod with at least 50%. Why this is important we will discuss later. Other mods on both items are already the same as everywhere else. More life, more armor, more fire and chaos resistance. If you have any empty mods, you can just add more damage or anything else like move speed on boots. For our flasks, we got a Quicksilver flask with attack damage leech just in case our life flask isn't enough. We got life flask with removal for curses. We got basalt flask for armor and removing bleeding and corrupted blood. We got granite flasks for additional armor. And finally we got bottled fate, which grants us consecrated ground and extra taken damage on enemies. Now remember, this build isn't a crit build, so its effect for critical is maybe worthless, but if you decide to adjust the build for critical build, this will pay even off more. Notice all utility flasks except bottled fate have reuse at the end of this flask effect, which is great for mapping. Use it once and start running and clearing the map. The flask will fill its charges and reuse them when effect is done. Bottled Fate though has enkindling effect of increased effect, which makes our damage taken to enemies stronger and its base effect of 40 damage even higher. We're going to show skill tree for our character next. For skill points and bandits, we choose to kill all 3 bandits. With the recent changes there's no more +2 skill points but instead 1, and that one is crucial. On our skill tree we have to focus on a few things: maximizing our fire resistance, getting some life and damage, and maximizing our protection with some specific skills. We also will add some jewels, which we will talk about later. For getting maximum resistances, we got Prismatic Skin and its node Maximum Fire Resistance, Armor Mastery and its node Soul of Steel, Barbarism, and the new nodes Maximum Fire Resistance and Nomadic Teachings. Altogether they are giving us 9 maximum fire resistances, which makes our resistance 84%. The remaining 6% is needed elsewhere. Since Tectonic Slam uses endurance charges for big explosions, we definitely need to get all the maximum endurance charges on the tree. We pick these: Endurance, Stamina, and Vigor. For life, we mostly pick nodes along the way like Warrior's Blood, Heart of the Warrior, Barbarism. Additional life nodes that we will show how to get is Robust Diet and Tireless. We also have Purity of Flesh up here, which gives us additional chaos resistance. For defense, we have allocated additionally Steadfast and its mastery, Fortify Mastery, which allows us to get Fortification. We have also Unwavering Stance, which makes us immune to stuns. Additionally, for boosting our armor, we have Soul of Steel and its nearby nodes. Everything else goes into offense. Offensively, first we get more rage generation and increasing maximum rage. Rage changed since 325 and now gives 1% more damage per rage, so obviously that's a nice choice for free damage boost. We get Veteran's Wrath and Battle Trance, and we have up to 46 rage. Since we are using Intimidating Cry, Infernal Cry and Railing Cry, we can invest into these nodes. Measured Fury allows us to have additionally exerted attack, and Warcry Mastery makes us not exert travel skills. Since our accuracy is low and we never invested in it, we can pick Resolute Technique, which makes our hits never be evaded, but at the cost of never dealing critical strikes. For additional damage, we can pick Divine Fury, which gives us 5% fire resistance penetration, and we can also pick Elemental Mastery, which makes our exposure start at least 18%. Additionally, we can also pick Lava Lash, which gives us additional 8% fire resistance penetration. The remainder of skill points is set up into Cluster, Historic and Normal Jewels. For Cluster Jewels we are going to pick large socket nodes next to Arsenal of Vengeance and the one next to Resolute Technique. Small Jewels are going to be picked next to Endurance, next to Eternal Youth, next to Stamina, next to Unwavering Stance, we are now going to talk about jewels. In our upper part of the tree we are going to socket Thread of Hope with massive radius. Next to Eternal Youth we are going to socket Elegant Hubris with 55 360 coins to commemorate Victaria. This will give us specially transferred passive skills that are being covered with the Thread of Hope and easy for us to pick. Those are Eternal Dominance, Gemling Training, Robust Diet, Rigwald's Might. We also picked additionally Precision and Purity of Flesh. If we combine that with another great jewel called Impossible Escape, which targets Avatar of Fire. We can also pick another set of Rigwald's Might and Eternal Dominance. This altogether gives us 240 increased damage and 20% damage per endurance charge. Additionally, we can take Butchery and Vanquisher without it being connected to the tree. In Cluster Jewel sockets we place 8 passives for two-handed weapons, which we picked Battlefield Dominator, Brutal Infamy and Heavy Hitter. In another one, we have picked a large Cluster Jewel that increases attack damage and uses Fuel the Fight, Devastator and Martial Prowess. Fuel the Fight is picked because it allows us to leech mana. And Devastator is picked for explosions. In the remaining sockets of Cluster Jewels and Skill Tree we socket a few items. We socket a Storm Shroud, which is a unique jewel that converts our avoidance from shock into avoidance to all elemental ailments. That's the avoidance we are looking here at the Boots and Abyss jewel that we mentioned before. Next up is Forbidden Flame, which allocates Unflinching, but for it to work we need to have Forbidden Flesh with the same modifier. Forbidden Flesh is socketed next to Unwavering Stance. This is the most important jewel of the build because we get additional endurance charge, and most important, it gives us a chance to generate max charges instead of one each time we get an endurance charge. The remaining jewels can be anything rare that gives damage plus to maximum fire resistance in case you didn't have it maxed on your equipment, and other things like life increase and corrupted blood immunity. For the one medium cluster jewel that we picked, you need to pick a cluster jewel that has lead by example and mob mentality. This allows us to get onslaught every time we warcry and grant a small chance to get endurance, frenzy or power charge each time we use a warcry. Now we are going to show links for the gems. Our secondary attack is basically a Cyclone, which is bound with awakened elemental damage with attacks, combustion, infused channeling, endurance charge on melee stun and mana leech. How this works? We get some form of phasing with Cyclone and move through enemies. We try to ignite them, and if we do, our combustion gives them minus 10% to fire resistance, while at the same time from the ring we inflict them inflammability. We leech mana off of this, and if we are lucky we generate an endurance charge here and there due to stun, which together with unflinching, which we just saw, might give us a maximum number of endurance charges. Infusion gives us additional damage reduction. This is basically a utility skill mostly, but it can pretty much clear weaker blue and white monsters even on a tier 17 map. Our main skill, Tectonic Slam of Cataclysm, has to be put on a body armor, because our Fist of War is based on body armor. It's connected with elemental damage with attacks, Ruthless, Overexertion, Pulverize, and Awaken melee physical damage support. If we have used all three of our battle cries, Railing, Intimidating Cry and Infernal Cry, we get 55% more damage due to overexertion. Combine that with the 7 endurance charges and we've got 194% more damage and 70% more area of effect. Now if you remember, we're playing Chieftain, so we get another 98% more from Fist of War every 1.8 seconds and 50% more area of attack. And if this happens to be our third hit, together with Ruthless, we get another 98% of damage. Combined all together on our third hit, we can get up to 390% more damage. Since our attacks are exerted, they gain bonuses from exertions as well, dealing massive damage. By Path of Building numbers, that's around the base of 5 million hit damage. In our rings, we got Flame Golem for the extra damage and extra physical as fire damage due to his aura. He is pretty weak and dies a lot, but is worth the slot. In second ring, we have our Skitterbots. We have some intelligence so we can get them up to level 19 plus 2 from the rings mod, which gives us a nice boost of 19% damage and chills enemies so they are 15% slower. Our helmet got a nice 4-link. We put War Banner, cast when damage taken support, Molten Shell and more duration. War Banner is there because once it gets planted with maximum valor, it gives massive increase in damage, around 20% more physical damage to all allies and players. It's lasting very long due to the base being 12 seconds, and with more duration it's around 18 seconds. Our gloves hold an interesting combo. We are using Auto Exertion and Intimidating Cry. As you know, Auto Exertion takes 15% mana reserved per Warcry. We are using it only for Intimidating Cry here, because it doesn't give us any buffs aside from move speed when used outside of Auto Exertion. Another thing is it's got only exertion on 2 attacks, so we can just fire and forget about this one. The second link is a Railing Cry and Infernal Cry. They are self-casted. Both of these give massive buffs to damage and to our minions. To get the maximum from Railing Cry we need to have at least 5 minions around us. We have our Golem, but where do we find the rest? In our boots we put the remaining 4 links, another 2 link and another 2 link. First one is being Dash with Second Wind. Of course you can change this for a Flame Dash or anything else you like. And the lower links are Flesh and Stone and Herald of Purity. Herald gives us the minions that we need for Railing Cry, and Flesh and Stone is just another layer of defense causing enemies to deal up to 19% less damage from enemies in aura. The best thing to notice on this setup is that we can survive Shaper Slam with all these defense layers. When we combine all of this, with Rage at 46, our strongest hit with Slam is, based on Path of Building, around 30 million damage, which is around 36.5 million DPS. Calculated for Pinnacle bosses, this is around 22 millions and 26 million DPS. For Uber bosses, that's around 7.5 million DPS, which is very nice. You are now probably wondering how much does this build cost. At the time of the playing, those prices were a bit lower, and currently there is no items in this range, so there are only a few that cost a couple of hundred divs, which isn't a real price. Usually we would go and get some cheaper items with no Exile and Ether mods and do them ourselves, which of course makes the item then more expensive. The prices for the items were somewhere along the lines of this. Armor was around 20 divines without XR and Ether mods. Right ring was around 1 divine. Left ring was around 5 divines. Gloves were somewhere in the range of 5 to 10 divines. Boots were somewhere around 8 to 10 divines. Belt was 3 to 5 divines. Amulet was 3 divines, and there's an anointment of charisma which uses 2 golden oils, and that's another 2 divines. Then we got helmet, which is around 10 divines. And finally the axe, which was probably the cheapest one, around 2 divines. All flasks were costing around 30 chaos, except for the bottled fate, which was around 6 divines. As you can notice, currently bottled fate is going around 8 divines. Altogether, when we sum this up, this build is around 60 divines. In a league where farming was easy, this wasn't as hard to get for a beginner player. Total time of playing at the moment of writing this guide for this character was around 23 days, 4 hours and 28 minutes. You should note that also a lot of that time was on AFK time. So for players that can invest much more playtime into the game, you can make this build even more sparkly, or should we say cataclysmic. Now you are probably wondering about some options to upgrade this build. This build isn't finished, or should we say it's partially finished, because there is still a lot to do. For example, my current level is 95 and there is only like 5 more skill points that you can invest when you level up to 100. Another option is changing the helmet into Echoes of Creation, which gives us great damage boost for the cost of losing life and resistances on this helmet. Based on the change, checking Path of Building shows us a difference in 15 million DPS. Another possible upgrade is, if we choose to remove the Resolute technique, we can suddenly deal critical strikes. We would have to sacrifice some of the tree or some of our items, because we would need then great accuracy. Just for show, we are going to see how much hit chance do we have when we remove Resolute technique. Our hit chance suddenly dropped to 66%. That is a loss of almost 34% of DPS. Additionally, there are other options as well. We could get some higher expensive rings that have mods like +1 to endurance charge. We could also get a corrupted axes with +1 to endurance charges, and many other. Getting those upgrades is very expensive and it requires a lot of time. Another possible option is getting a jewel called the Voices, which can easily replace some of our sockets for our medium or small jewels. Now Voices has a couple of combinations, and the best ones are also very expensive. Some prices range up to even 1 mirror. And last option, we could probably drop some of our Flame Golem, or maybe change Dash into Flame Dash, and get 2 sockets for additional 2 War Cries. We could go for a Seismic Cry, or maybe some other. This would also prove as a big boost to our DPS. Finally, we have to give special credits to Rabbit Bunny 43, whose idea about this elegant Hubris jewel, Impossible Escape jewel, and Thread of Hope combination, which gives us this extreme damage. That's it, that's the build. Tectonic Slam of Cataclysm. Hope you liked it, share it, subscribe, and see you in the next league.
My mana is gone. I cannot do this yet. Mana is gone.
Death will never come for an immortal. Mortal. Darkness swarms. Feel death's grip.
My mana is gone.
Your soul burns for me. Your soul burns for me. Your soul burns for me. Kulamak! Arise, my children. Feed! Darkness swarms. Mortal. Feel death's grip. Darkness swarms.
I cannot do this yet.
Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me. Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me. Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me. Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me. Give your soul to me. Your soul burns for me.
My mana is gone.
Kulamak! Arise, my children. Feed! Darkness swarms. Mortal. Feel death's grip. Darkness swarms. Mortal. Arise, my children. Feed! Give your soul to me. your soul to me. Your soul burns for me. Give your soul to me. Kulamak, arise, my children. Feed! Darkness swarms. Mortal. Feel death's grip.
I cannot do this yet.
Darkness swarms.
Remember me when we're through here, you won't. Valdo had some ingenious designs hidden in his memories. Observe! Darkness surrounds us! Valdo's designs were flawed. Do you remember dying here? You will.
My mana is gone.
Burn away, sin! Feel the pull of the void! Are you? In this, the realm of the past, I am king, and you will bow.
Tukohama.
This one is my own creation. Plenty more where that came from. Face your destruction. Sin surrounds you.
I cannot do this
Burn
yet.
away, sin. Feel the pull of the void. Yes, that's it. Death sweeps in. Faith empowers. Belief overwhelms. No! Impossible! How? This isn't over. This will never be over. I will unify humanity.
I've never seen anything like this. Be healed and fight on! Stalk and hunt! Take this vitality boon! Life is so brittle. Stalk and hunt! Take this vitality boon! Life is so brittle. Stalk and hunt! past.
I cannot do this yet.
Yield and fight on. Mortal flesh is so fallible. A match of my might.
Yeah, let's go Elder.
I cannot do this yet.
To me, Exile, quickly! So that was the Elder. What terrible.
Let my dance begin. Storm and light. Resist the assault!
'Tis
mortal flesh is so fallible. Handle this! Grasp your mortality tightly. Handle this! Stalk and hunt. Mortal flesh is so fallible. Grasp your mortality tightly.
I am the end.
Store and hunt.
I cannot do this yet.
Grasp your mortality tightly. Life is so brittle. Oh, a glorious
And that was it.
I see you, little mouse. You don't belong here. Run along.
The great wolf. The great wolf is here. I shall see. Wolf consumes me.
Turn back, trespasser. Cease this madness.
I cannot do this yet.
You tamper with things you do not understand. Your recklessness will not go unpunished. This is your final warning. Leave or perish. You force my hand again, little mouse. So be it. You've chosen to side with chaos. This is my world, and you shall obey my order. Gaze into the abyss.
They're coming through.
Embraced by misery. Gaze into the abyss. Embraced by misery. Irrelevant!
He's trying to recover. Hurry!
I cannot do
Let's
this
find
yet.
a way back.
Behold the face of your unmaking!
Father, it's me. Let me help you.
The horror must be stopped. Obstacles destroyed!
Stay close. We need to close.
From the void.
Come to me.
Failure, ambivalence, death.
Stay close.
Failure,
need to close.
ambivalence, death. Embraced by misery.
I cannot do this yet.
Stay close.
Imperfect!
He's trying to recover. Hurry! Let's find a way back.
These memories are mine. I cannot lose them.
They lied to you, Father. I'm your true memory.
To save the future, the past must be sacrificed.
We need to close.
Ultimate chaos.
To me, Exile.
Gaze into the abyss.
Stay close. They're coming through. Stay close.
I cannot do this yet.
Irrelevant!
It's happening, isn't it? The Elder is on its way.
I may not remember.
Father, no!
Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Exile, do something!
I've never seen anything like this. Be healed and fight on. Life is so brittle.
My mana is gone.
Be healed and fight on.
cannot
None
do this.
resist my entropy. Life is so brittle. Be healed and fight on. Feel death's pull. Life is so brittle. None resist my entropy. Mortal flesh is so fallible.
Embraced by misery.
Be healed and fight on. Feel your life trail away.
Embraced by
Life
misery.
is so brittle. Give yourself to the void.
Gaze into the abyss.
Be healed and fight on! Life is so brittle. Feel your life train away.
Gaze.
Life is so brittle. Feel death's pull. Take this vitality boon.
Now when you fight Maven, there is this one
The
phase,
prize piece comes to join.
and that's memory game, which is pretty hard to avoid, so I might probably die from it.
Stand still.
Pain will be returned tenfold. Space aligns.
Cannot do this yet.
Wait,
Behold my collection.
I will have what I want. This will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. Stand still.
Death made real.
Stand still.
Death made real.
A cascade of pain. Stand still. Why?
Resistance will be punished. Time contorts. Scurry.
My mana is gone.
My irritation is growing. Stand still! Do what I say. Death will not be an escape. Scurry! Stand still. A cascade of pain.
Death made real.
Stand still. Mine.
I cannot do this yet.
How?
Stop resisting. Reality bends. Punishment inescapable.
Arrogant toy! Stand still. Death will not be an escape. Scurry! A cascade of pain. My collection is complete. Stand still. Stand still. A cascade of pain. This will not be an escape. Scurry. Stand still. Stand still.
Caretaker, to me!
A good omen!
I give you to my ancestors.
Jill! I will avenge you!
I cannot do this yet.
You have been touched and abandoned! Impure sinners! All of you!
Too long since my arrows tasted slave blood. Stay, dog! Rejoice! The Queen has deemed you worthy of sacrifice. Insect! For the Queen! Fall before us!
My mana is gone.
Cannot destroy that which is eternal. Fire!
Only the sun can bring about the dawn, but we will fight to see it.
Do not weep. Your sacrifice is not without value. Fall before us! Insect! It's been too long since my arrows tasted slaver blood. Stay, dog!
Burn with it! Sinners! All of you! Impure filth! Repent!
A good omen! Back to the dust!
Rejoice! The Queen has deemed you worthy of sacrifice. Fall before us! For the Queen! Yield and save yourself!
You cannot destroy that which is eternal. Fire! You can't hide from me!
I cannot do this yet.
Jill! To push the lumberers back to Negro's lands.
Sinners! All of you!
Make me burn in your blood! Stay, dog! Do not! Your sacrifice is not without value. Look!
Only the sun can bring about the dawn, but we will fight to see it. Back to the dust.
I'm sorry, Shield.
Rain of stars! You are nothing!
What's this? A real challenge? You've finally caught my attention. Die.
This city is nothing! Rain of stars! Embrace nothingness. Creation itself!
The
Glorious
others found
flames!
strength in their projections. They became reliant on them. I am not so foolish. Be silent.
My mana is gone.
Die.
Your lives are meaningless! You are nothing! Be utterly annihilated! Fury of the cosmos!
Really interesting enough to warrant all this pain. Die.
Your lives are meaningless! You are nothing! Be utterly annihilated! Rain of stars!
The edge of death. My heart races. I am alive.
Everlasting fire!
Feel the thrill of
The void! Die!
I cannot do this yet.
I have seen beyond! Be silent! Everlasting fire!
you will long for
Non-existence! Die! I have seen beyond everlasting fire. Die.
meaning.
Is an illusion. Die. This world is doomed! Everlasting fire!
I cannot do this yet. mana is gone. My mana is gone.
So let's try this.
At least die with some flair. Life is so brittle. None resist my
I
entropy.
cannot do this yet.
Grasp your mortality tightly. Mortal flesh is so fallible. Another challenger. Another challenger. Grasp your mortality tightly.
My mana is gone.
Feel not good.
Yes.
Grasp your mortality tightly. Life is so brittle. Resist the assault. Feel your life trembling. Grasp your mortality tightly. Mortal flesh is so fallible. Feel your life trembling.
Okay, this one doesn't look that bad. So let's do it.
At least die with some flair. Resist the assault! Life is so brittle. Feel your life drain away.
I cannot do this yet.
And this! Grasp your mortality tightly. Another challenger now resists my entropy. Life is so brittle. Resist the assault! Such wonderfully delightful inspiration. Entertain me. Give yourself to the void. Not good. Take this vitality boon. Mortal flesh is so fallible. Another challenger, take this vitality boon. Not another challenger. Life is so brittle. Twin terrors. Give yourself to the void.
My mana is gone.
Life is so brittle. Deadliest flare survival. This is is finally here. Tight tenors! Shadows, rise and fight!
My mana is
A
gone.
veil of safety and security.
Sinners must be punished. Hand of justice. Faith empowers.
Another challenge, a veil of safety and security.
Sinners must be punished. Weight of
Twin terrors!
I'm faster.
Feeding time.
Tight terrors.
How quick are you?
The void protects its
I shall free you.
struggle of strength.
How quick are you?
Not good. The void protects its...
I'm better. I can't be bested.
Twin terrors.
Put up a fight.
Against the strongest of all the bosses. We are gonna do this one white because it's usually impossible to finish this fight if we put some mods on it. Let's go.
Let the blood dance begin. Life is so brittle.
My mana is gone.
Shadow, rise and fight. Feel death's pull. Take this vitality boon. None resist my entropy. Twin terrors!
I cannot do
Time
this.
to up, heal, and fight on. Not good. Mortal flesh is so fallible. Feel death's pull. Take this vitality boon. Mortal flesh is so fallible. None resist my entropy. Not good. Twin terrors.
Gaze into the abyss.
Life is so brittle. Be healed and fight on. Now resist my entropy. Life is so brittle. Twin terrors. Feel death's pull. Another challenger. Be healed and fight on. Mortal flesh is so fallible. None resist my entropy. terrors. Mortal flesh is so fallible. None resist my entropy. Yield and fight on. Life is so brutal.
Gaze to the abyss.
Twin terrors. Feel death's pull. Life is so brittle. Feel death's
I cannot
pull.
do-
Not good.
Ascend through the
Take this back to your room.
sky, obey.
Twin terrors. Feel death.